Good morning, students. Today's topic of discussion is input-output configuration. We know very well that a computer system comprises of input and output devices. We will look at the input-output configuration, how actually it works in a computer system. This is an output device, printer. Okay, so here we have this output device. You can consider any output device. You can put up here monitor. There is a receiver interface in between printer and output register, OUTR. We learnt about different kinds of registers in which we have AC, PC, AR, DR, IR, TR, OUTR, and INPR. This one OUTR is a register that is connected to accumulator. Whatever operation you are performing on the accumulator, that will get through the output register and following interface onto the printer. And there is a flip-flop. Okay, there is a flip-flop which is output flag, and there is a flip-flop which is input flag. There is this accumulator which has been connected to both output register and input register. From input register, it receives the input. Accumulator is getting the value from input register, whereas accumulator is giving out the value to the output register. Input register INPR is also connected to transmitter interface, which further is attached to the input device. This one is the input device. There is an interface. This interface is the receiver interface, which is receiving value from accumulator to output register and which gives out to a printer. Here in transmitter interface implies that it is transmitting the data from keyboard into input register and finally to the accumulator for processing. What is the significance of FGI and FGO? FGI input flag, FGO output flag. Whenever you press a key, suppose you are pressing a key A on the keyboard, that A through transmitter interface gets stored in INPR. And to indicate that there is some value in the input register, this FGI flag is set. Alright, when this FGI flag is set, it apparently means there is some value in input register which can be transmitted to the accumulator. Alright, and here output flag. Output flag also does the same thing. It indicates whether the output has been accepted or by the device or not. Look at here. The computer checks the flag bit. FGI, FGO, those are flag bits. They are implemented as single bit flip-flops. If it is 1, the information from INPR is transferred in parallel into AC as well as clearing of FGI. Two operations are performed whenever FGI is 1. When FGI is 1, what does it denote? It denotes that there is some value available in the input register, INPR. Processor checks up this flag to get to know whether there is any value. If there is any value, it accepts the value from INPR register. Clear this FGI, flat input is cleared, and if from input the value is transferred to the accumulator. What happens once the flag is cleared? When the flag is cleared, you can put new information into the input register. All right. Similarly, the OUTR works, but the direction of information is reversed. What do you mean by direction of information is reversed? From input register, accumulator is accepting the value, whereas from from accumulator, value is transferred into output register. Output register is receiving the value from accumulator, whereas input register is providing the value to the accumulator. FGO is set to 1 and computer checks the flag bit. If it is equal to 1, information from AC is transferred in parallel to out register and FGO is cleared. When this is output register and there is this flag FGO. When FGO is 1, accumulator transfers the information. This is accumulator. So input register provides the information to the accumulator, and here accumulator transfers the information to the output register. When it is 1, after transferring the information, it is set to 0. Once the output is further transferred through interface to the output device, again it is set to 1, which indicates that the output register is empty and ready to accept the data from the accumulator. Did you all understand, students, this concept? Any doubts in this? Yes. Any doubt you can ask. This we can take the analogy like here there is somebody in between. Okay, you might have seen the construction of buildings. What happens? They fill their tray with cement and concrete. Oh, very good. Let me give you an analogy. At the construction of a building, these laborers fill their tray with concrete, cement and everything. And if it is given to the next labor, suppose. So he transfer this material into his tray. Once it is transferred, again new concrete can be filled in. And to indicate whether this tray is empty or filled up, we can use our eyes. But for machines, we have to have extra flags to indicate that information is there or not there, transferred or not transferred. So far, we have covered register reference instructions and memory reference instructions. It's turn now to discuss input-output instructions, I/O instructions. This instruction register has this mode bit and opcode, uh, or the code, or simply the code. Here, can anyone tell me, in I/O instructions, what are the components within a instruction register?
Ma'am, mode, ma'am, mode bit,
Yes.
opcode, and the 12 bit.
In terms of I/O, you tell me in terms of I/O, you fill this. I am erasing this also. Fill this up.
Ma'am, mode bit is 1.
Hmm.
Okay, opcode is 111.
Hmm.
And that remaining part is our instructions. No?
Very good. So in terms of I/O instruction, our IR, this is I/O. We covered MR, we covered RR. Now we are learning I/O, and to learn I/O, we should know the pattern in the instruction register. It is 1, 1, 1, 1, and here comes these instructions. What are the instructions? There are 6 instructions. Before discussing about these instructions, let's try to understand this term P. Here you see P everywhere. What does P means? P is D7 I T3. Can anyone uh, clears what does this mean? Can anyone tell me what does D7 I and T3 means?
Ma'am, D7 means that triple one bit, and I is 1. And
Yes,
all the input output instructions will start from time slot T3. So that's why it is common for all the operation instructions. That's why we can consider that as P.
very good. So this is T3 is the time slot where these instructions are executed. I means this mode bit which is 1. This is I. And these three, D7, all ones. And here you will find our and so this part, these 4 bits are represented by P, which is common to all. Next we have IR of I, BI. IR bits from 0 to 11. Here you will find the instruction code for input output. Which bits are used in the context of I/O instructions? Bit number 6 to 11. So this is 0th bit, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the 6 to 11 means how many total you get? This is 11, this is 10, 9, 8, 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, it has become more. So this is 11th bit. This is 10th bit. In 11th bit, can anyone tell me what is the instruction?
Input, ma'am.
Yes, very good. INP, input. In this is 11th instruction. Here you have INP. Then this is 10th instruction. What is 10th instruction?
Output.
Output.
OUT.
OUT. What is ninth instruction?
Skip on input flag.
SKI, which is skip on input flag. Then eighth instruction is
SKO.
SKO, which is skip on
Skip
output
on
flag. Seventh bit denotes which instruction?
ION.
ION, which is
Interrupt
interrupt
enable
enable
on.
on. This is interrupt enable on. And this one is sixth bit is
IOF.
this is IOF. Interrupt enable off. And here you will find the other bits 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. So this 0 to 5 are not utilized, unutilized bits. Only bits 6 to 11 are utilized. All right, let us look at these instructions in detail. INP, which is executed at P. P means when there is time 3 and I is 1 and D7 is 1. B11 bit is 1. This INP bit should be 1. When this bit is 1 and all the other bits are 0, this INP instruction would be executed. OUT, when B10,
Ma'am, once
okay,
again, ma'am.
okay, INP is executed when this bit, 11th bit, is 1. Okay, this 11th bit is having a value 1. All the other bits are having zeros. Here you should have 0, 0, 0, 0. Everywhere 0, 0, 0. Only this 11th bit should be 1. Then this input instruction is executed. And what happens in this input instruction? AC, accumulator, you are trying to access the first part. There are two parts in accumulator. Why I'm saying there are two parts in accumulator? I'm telling two parts because I'm dividing the accumulator in terms of bytes. There are 2 bytes. The size of accumulator is 16. This 16 you can divide into low order byte and high order byte. Which is low order byte? This 0 to 7 is low order byte. Which is high order byte? 8 to 15 is high order byte. AC 0 to 7, you are trying to access this part of AC. And you are trying to fill it with the contents of INP. There is a INP register, INPR register. It receives value from where? Through interface, it receives value from keyboard. There is an interface here and it receives value from keyboard. Okay, through interface, INPR receives value from keyboard. Whatever character we press on the keyboard, that character's code is stored in INPR and then flag is set to 1. Later, when the instruction register contains value 1 in B11th bit, that triggers the transfer of data from input register into this low order byte of AC. This AC 0 to 7, this replacement operator INPR means you are transferring the contents of INPR into the first byte of accumulator, and FGI is set to 1. FGI has to be set to 1 to receive another character or another input from the user. If FGI is not set to 0, um, this input register is considered to be uh, filled up with the value. Essentially, here you are transferring the value into accumulator. Therefore, the input register is empty now. To denote that, this is set to 0. This is input
Ma'am,
operation.
it's FGI 0 or 1. Uh, it's written 0.
Yeah, it's written 0 because you are consuming the value. After you consume the value, consuming means what? Transferring from input register into. When you press the key, then FGI will be set to 1, and input register will contain the code for the key that has been pressed by the user. After that, when this instruction register instruct the computer to accept the data from input register, at that point, input register data is transferred into accumulator. Input register is empty now, and FGI is set to 0 so that another character can be received into the input register. When it is set to 0, um, when you are, something, suppose there is a doctor cabin, okay? In the doctor cabin, all patients are waiting in queue. If one patient enters, what happens? This FGI is set to 1. Why FGI is set to 1? To indicate that the doctor is with the patient. Once the patient is out, it is set to 0. 0 means what? Now there is no one inside the doctor's cabin. Another patient can enter. When another patient enters, again it is set to 1 to indicate that patient is consulting the doctor. Another patient should wait. Same thing applies here. When input register is having the data, FGI is 1. When input register transfers its data into accumulator, FGI is 0. It means that here it is empty. Did you understand?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Output. Next output instruction. OUT. Output when B10 is set to 1. Next time when you are trying to execute output instruction, input INP will be equal to 0, OUT will be equal to 1, and all the other bits are set to cleared to 0. Everything will be 0. And this will indicate that the operation that is to be performed by the computer system is output operation. In this instruction register, it is mentioned that this output operation has to be performed. How the output operation is performed? It is reversed. Here you have output register OUTR, and there is a flag FGO. What are you doing here? This part again, AC of, this is AC of 0 to 7. Because input and output registers are 8 bits long and AC is 16 bits long. So how do you manage to have transfer of data to and from AC and OUTR and INPR? That is made possible because you can access only the first byte of AC. 0 to 7. AC of 0 to 7 is sent or transferred into OUTR. Whatever data is available here, that is transferred into OUTR. And FGO is set to 0. Why it is set to 0? Because now OTR has some data. Let us take A. AC has A. The code for A is transferred into OUTR and FGO is set to 0. Why FGO is set to 0? Here OUTR contains the data. When OUTR through interface okay, let's do it again. When OUTR through interface, there is an interface, transfers the data to the printer. In our example, printer has been chosen as the output device. When it is transferred into the printer, again output register is empty. When it is empty, FGO is set to 1. If it is 1 only, AC will transfer the data into this. Okay. If it is 0 means it has not been given to the user through output device. It's the other way around. Any doubt in this? After transferring the data from AC into OUTR, FGO is set to 0 to denote that OUTR is now having some data, and AC would wait until FGO is 1. When FGO will become 1, when OUTR forwards the data to the print. OUTR gets empty and it sets FGO to 1. When AC finds that FGO is 1, it again transfers the data in OUTR based on input instruction register OUT bit, which is 10th bit. SKI is skip on input flag. Input flag is this FGI. If FGI is equals to 1, then PC equal to PC plus 1. It is skipping the next instruction. When FGO is equals to 1, this one, output flag, then PC equal to PC plus 1, means skipping the next instruction and moving on to the other instruction, followed by the next instruction. ION, it's interrupt enable on, which we will study now further now. IEN is again a flag. When it is 1, it is interrupt on. When it is 0, interrupt is off. Okay. Input and output you understood. This is input and output. SKI and SK also you know. If here it is 1, just increment the PC. There is a PC register. Increment the value of PC. When FGI is 1. If FGI is 1, if PC is having 100, it is incremented to 101. Likewise for FGO. Let us deeply delve into program interrupt, which is quite important topic. This is the flowchart for interrupt cycle. We have learned the flowchart for instruction cycle. Do you remember instruction cycle flowchart?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, now we are learning interrupt cycle flowchart. Before this, let me give you an analogy. Actually, what is this interrupt and what is the difference between instruction and interrupt? Consider a teacher is explaining the topic on the board and there are students here who are listening. This is a class who are listening. Teacher is explaining the concept and any one student might get the doubt. So what the student does, that student will interrupt the teacher. How he interrupt the teacher? The student may say, "Excuse me, teacher." Okay. When students say, "Excuse me, teacher," teacher will turn his or her attention to the student who is asking, his or her attention, and stop this. When you ask me the doubt, I don't carry on the explanation of the topic. Rather, I stop the topic and I address your query. Same thing happens with the computer system as well. A computer system is executing, means the processor is executing an instruction. Instruction is nothing but a program. Within a program, you have various statements, and this processor is executing them. Further, these students are like IO devices, like printer, scanner, keyboard, mouse, monitor. These are like students, okay, analogous to students. When processor is executing the program or the instructions, consider this keyboard wants to interrupt the processor and inform the processor that I have something to read. User is entering something. Please accept that. Please read it from input register into accumulator. Whenever such type of interrupts are raised, processor stop its execution of the instructions. It executes the current instruction. Okay, it does not leave anything in the middle or in between. Whatever instruction it is executing, it finishes. It comes to this keyboard query. It addresses that. Later, it goes back to the point from where it has to resume its instruction execution. So there is a bit R. What does R denote? It's like a flip-flop, flag bit. If R is 0, it is an instruction cycle. If R is 1, it is an interrupt cycle. Every time processor has to check what is the value of R. If R is 1, it starts interrupt cycle. If R is 0, it continues its instruction cycle. When we compare this analogy with this one, we see that during the class 3 or 4 doubts arises. Otherwise, teacher will go on explaining the instructions. Similarly, here processor will be executing the instructions. If any interrupt arises, it addresses. When R is 0, consider now R is 0. This R takes the processor to the instruction cycle. What are the phases in an instruction cycle? Can anyone tell me the phases in an instruction cycle?
Fetching and decoding,
Hmm?
execution,
Very good. It's fetch, decode. In case the address is indirect, the third step is read effective address, and fourth one is execution. Third is skipped when the address is a direct address.
direct.
All right. So fetch, decode, and execute. These are the phases in an instruction cycle. And look at here, we have fetch and decode instruction, means it is executing an instruction cycle, followed by execution of the instruction. And here the processor checks, is IEN 0? What is IEN? Please recall, IEN is a flag here. This is interrupt enable flag. I means interrupt, EN means enable. Interrupt enable flag. If it is 1 means interrupt is on. If it is 0, interrupt is off. You can see here in our virtual class using Meet, here you can raise your hand. When you raise your hand, it is like interrupt. right? I check. Yeah. When you raise your hand, I get a no beep sound here. When I get a beep sound, it is like an interrupt for me. Then IEN will be 1. Okay, students. So this is like an interrupt, raising a hand. B bit is 10, then we have to take higher order bit of AC. No, I think B bit is the position of the bit. Okay, where, what are flags and what's the use of them? Okay, so these are like interrupts now. What I do during execution, I check this chat messages to know whether there is any doubts. So this I bit, 10th bit, is the bit of instruction register, not the accumulator register. Okay, Sirisha. This instruction register bit is different from AC bit. Here B11, B10, B9, these B's denote the bits in instruction register. B10 means 10th bit in an instruction register. And here AC of 0 to 7, this is referring to the bits positions of accumulator register. These are different. This B is different and this 0 to 7 is different. When B10, if it is B10, it indicates the operation to be performed is output. And it is not at all related in any manner to AC. I hope it clears your doubt, Sirisha. If you have a doubt, you can. Okay. Yeah, nice. Well, here processor checks is IEN 0. If IEN 0, nothing has to be done. Okay, it just continues its execution. When IEN is 1, this is a decision box, rhombus. If it is 1, it has to check whether FGI is 1 or FGO is 1. Consider this, these input and output devices, these are like students where in this analogy. Means there is the interrupt. How do they raise the interrupt? If it is an input device, FGI is 1. If it is output device, FGO is 1. If FGI is 1, R is set to 1. If R is 1, it implies that it next cycle would be interrupt cycle for the processor and not the instruction cycle. R is set to 1 if FGI is 1, if FGO is 1. If they are 0, nothing has to be done and this continuation of instruction execution follows. Well, now you consider R is 1. When R is 1, processor executes interrupt. It follows interrupt cycle. And what is an interrupt cycle? In this, it has to store the return address in location 0. Memory of 0 gets the value from PC. PC stores the address of the next instruction to be executed. Next step is branch to location 1. To branch to location 1, PC is set to 1. Later, execution of the routine, subroutine is performed, followed by clearing IEN and R. Interrupt enable is set to 0, is cleared to 0, R is cleared to 0, so that the next time processor can follow instruction cycle and not the interrupt cycle. And here there is a example. This is the demonstration of interrupt cycle. Figure A shows figure 5.14a shows the status of memory before interrupt, and B shows the status of memory after interrupt cycle. Consider processor is executing this statement or instruction. This is the instruction which is executed by a processor. It is at 255. When the processor is executing instruction 255, obviously PC would store 256. Apparently, PC stores the address of the next instruction. So PC is storing 256. This is the main program whose instructions are being executed by the processor. This is an IO program. IO program which is used to address the the queries or the interrupts raised by IO program, IO devices. Okay, IO devices require some operation to be carried out, which is located here in IO program. Its address is 1120. And the last instruction in this IO program is mode bit 1, branch unconditionally, address is 0. The zeroth address, this is the zeroth address. It is empty. And first address is having an instruction whose mode bit is 0, whose opcode is BUN, branch unconditionally, and whose address is 1120. Did you understand this configuration, students? This is before interrupt.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now you look at after interrupt, what happens. After interrupt, first step is to store the PC content to the M of 0, zeroth location of memory. This is M of 0. So 256 gets stored in zeroth location of memory. Why we are storing? It is like computer is remembering where to return. You see, we human beings, we have got an amazing brain where in the brain we record. Now, when the student asked about that beat and bit, what I did, I explained and I resumed from the point where at which I stopped. If computer does not record this, it has to start from the beginning because it will not remember. All computer does is storing the things, recalling through that stored values, and so on. Therefore, here PC content is stored in this to remind the processor where it should return. This is return address. After execution of the instruction wherein we are storing the PC into 0, the next PC would get the value 1. And what is there in 1? In 1 you have 0, branch unconditionally. 0 means direct address. Branch unconditionally means there is no condition where you are branching to 1120. Where is 1120? 1120 is here. This is 1120. So you are branching to 1120. And the processor executes the program that is residing at the memory location 1120. After execution of this entire program, it encounters the last instruction in the program, which is 1. 1 denotes it is indirect address. Branch unconditionally 0. Now 0 is the address where you will find the address to branch. So you have to go to 0 first. So you go to 0. You go to 0. At 0, you will find the address where you have to branch. So you branch to 256. This is how interrupt cycle executes. Any doubts in this, students?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I think with this we have completed our second unit. Do you have any doubt in any concept of second unit? You can ask. And look at this, how interrupt cycle is executed. FGI plus FGO. If any one is 1 and IEN is 1 and T0 is 0, T1 is 0 and T2 is 0. At this point, R is set to 1. When R is set to 1, what happens? You have to perform the cycle for interrupt. And what does interrupt cycle comprises of? These three steps. What are they? Address register is set to the address 0, and you are transferring PC into TR, which is temporary register, followed by transferring the temporary register contents into M of AR. AR is 0. This 0 will here consider that PC is 256. 256 you are storing in TR. From TR you are storing into M of AR. AR is 0. So M of 0 you are storing 256 and you are making PC is equal to 0. And in the next time unit, in the next time unit, PC is incremented, PC equal to PC plus 1, and IEN is set to clear to 0, R is clear to 0, and SC is clear to 0. When the program, IO program gets executed, everything is cleared. This is not there in the syllabus, but I urge you all to study this. If you study this, you will get the whole idea of a computer system. It has got basic design, what are the components, and this execution of computer operation, which includes MR, RR, and IO. And this is the table that lists, that is tabulating the uh, description of every instruction, MR, RR, and IO. And here you have also got control logic gates, what is control memory, all this gives you insights into the operation of a basic computer system. This is a very basic computer system. Our computer systems are too complex and complicated, but to understand something complex, if you learn simple things, you can escalate that understanding to the complex thing. Okay, so this is extra. This is something extra which I urge you all to do. And design of accumulator logic also you study to know how accumulator is designed. This all we study. We have learned everything. Shift left, shift right. This is all whatever we have learned. This is consolidation of all the topics. You are combining everything. So far you have learned individually, and in this you combine everything. Okay, students, you have completed up to 38th question. Now today you have to do 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, and 45. So today's homework, this week's homework, are these questions from 39 to 45. We have learned everything. You see, 39th question is tabulate register reference instructions. 40 is tabulate memory reference instructions. 41 is with an example explain DSC instruction. And 42 is IO configuration we have learned, IO instructions we have learned, flowchart for interrupt cycle we covered, and demonstration of interrupt cycle, that memory status we have covered. So everything is done. You just have to write important points and make the notes. Your first internal syllabus would be Unit 1 and Unit 2. Okay. Next week on Wednesday, I would begin Unit 3 microprogrammed control. Students, tell me whether you have completed all the previous questions. Who has not done? Okay, completed. Very good, Vani. Okay, tell me one thing. Did you all learned whatever I gave the homework for you yesterday? This BSA, did you understand? Anyone can explain this quickly? Yes, please tell me, did you all read yesterday's topic? Who can explain me? Pavan,
Ma'am,
did you go through this? What I gave yesterday, this one?
ma'am, you gave about that memory instructions, ma'am.
Yeah. This is also part of memory instruction, no? BSA, branch and save return address. Did you learn or not?
Not at all, ma'am.
Okay, then I will only explain to you. See, BSA instruction, branch and save return address. Look at this memory. AR is having value 135. This is the subroutine at address 136. PC is having program counter 21, which means that the processor is executing here. When processor is executing at location 20, the next instruction is 21. What is there in location 20? In location 20, you have 0, which is direct address. BSA means branch and save return address. Where are you branching? To 135. In 135, what you have to do? You have to save the return address. What is the return address? Return address is 21. Look at here at address 135, you are storing 21. And then you are jumping to 136. Executing this subroutine at 136. I told you with an example, add method. You have add and you have main method. So consider that this is main method, this is add method. Now you are branching to add method to execute it. After the execution, the last instruction is 1 means indirect address, bun, branch unconditionally to 135. When you jump to 135, you find 21. 21 is the address at which point processor has to resume its execution. Do you understand, students?
Yes,
Memory.
ma'am.
This is BSA. There is one question, that's why I explained it. Okay then, students. I will end the class now. Anything if you want to discuss with me, still 5 minutes are there, you can talk to me.
Ma'am, internals will be